The alien caught him to torture, but what happened to him is amazing for you. They brought him to me bound in iron and light. The soldiers dragged him through the halls of glass and silver, their boots echoing against marble that gleamed beneath the twin sons of Kael'thur. He was small compared to them, lean, pale, his skin marked by the grime of battle and the stubborn defiance of his kind. A human. My attendants knelt as I entered the chamber. My title preceded me, heavy as a crown, High Scion Liriveth of the 7th House, daughter of the Kael Dominion, judge of prisoners and steward of truth. In my palace, mercy was an instrument of politics, not sentiment. When they placed the prisoner before me, he raised his eyes. I had seen many enemies stare in fear, some in hatred, some in desperate pleading. But this one did not beg. He looked upon me with the calm of a dying flame, flickering, unbowed, refusing the wind. I had ordered his capture for intelligence. The humans had resisted the Dominion's expansion with a kind of savagery we had never encountered. They fought as if extinction itself were a challenge to be met head-on. And though their fleets burned, though their colonies fell, they did not surrender. "Leave us," I told the guards. The chamber fell silent when the doors sealed. Only the hum of the restraining field remained, a faint whisper of blue light around his wrists. I approached slowly, studying him. His clothing was torn, his armor dented, his lips split. Yet there was dignity in his posture, a quiet, impossible pride. "What is your name?" I asked. He hesitated, then said, "Lieutenant Marcus Hale. United Terran Front." His words were sharp, clipped, but the tone carried no hatred. Only exhaustion. "You are accused of espionage against the Dominion," I said. "Do you deny it?" He gave a small laugh, a sound more like a breath than a word. "If you already believe I'm a spy, what good would denying do?" There was wit in his answer. Audacity. I should have found it insolent. Instead, I found it, alive. For a long moment, I said nothing. I had presided over 1,000 interrogations. I knew how to read lies, how to extract truth through pain or persuasion. But his gaze disarmed me more thoroughly than any weapon. "Humans," I murmured, almost to myself. "You endure suffering as if it were a game." He smiled faintly. "And you call survival cruelty, as if it were mercy." That was the first conversation. The first fracture in the wall between interrogator and prisoner. Days became weeks. He was not tortured, not yet. I told myself it was strategic restraint, that insight required patience. But the truth was different. I found excuses to question him privately, to prolong the moments when I could listen to his strange, careful voice. He told me of earth, of oceans that sang and winds that carried salt and rain. Of music made not by machines, but by breath and heart. When he spoke, I imagined his world. Raw, imperfect, unrefined, and alive in ways the Dominion had long forgotten. In exchange, I spoke of Kael'thur's glories, the glass towers that touched the clouds, the symphonies of light we wove through the stars, the endless order our empire demanded. "Sounds beautiful," he said once, "but lonely." Lonely. The word stung, though I could not say why. That night, I stood upon my balcony and looked at the city. From above, it shimmered, perfect geometry, no imperfection daring to remain. Yet for the first time, I saw the stillness beneath the beauty. The quiet tyranny of perfection. I began to visit him not as an interrogator, but as something else, though I did not yet name it. I brought him real food, not the sterile nutrient gels of prisoners. I released the energy field around his wrists. He never tried to flee. Instead, he asked questions about me, about my people, about why we conquered when we already had everything. His questions were dangerous. They unsettled me. Yet I answered. In his presence, I was not the High Scion. I was merely Liriveth, a woman who had begun to envy the defiance in a prisoner's eyes. One night, the alarms shattered the quiet. The humans had launched a counterstrike, desperate, bold. My palace trembled under distant bombardment. Guards flooded the halls. My commander stormed into the chamber and demanded the execution of all human captives. I ordered the opposite. They looked at me as if I had lost my mind. Perhaps I had. When they hesitated, I invoked my title and authority. They obeyed, retreating with bowed heads, confusion writ across their faces. Then I went to the cell. He was awake, sitting calmly as the lights flickered. "They're coming for you," I said. "They will not spare prisoners this time." He studied my face. "And you? What will you do?" I wanted to answer with strength. Instead, my voice trembled. "I will get you out." He laughed softly, shaking his head. "Why?" I stepped closer until the distance between us was only breath. "Because, you made me remember what mercy feels like." His expression changed, the faint, unreadable tenderness I had only glimpsed before. He raised a hand, slow, hesitant, as if afraid to shatter something fragile. I let him touch my cheek. His skin was warm, human warmth, not the cold perfection of our kind. "You don't owe me this," he whispered. "I know," I said. "That is why it means something." We fled through the Undercity, a labyrinth of maintenance tunnels and forgotten chambers. Above us, the war screamed. I could hear the thunder of falling towers, the wail of plasma fire. He limped, wounded from earlier battles, but refused to slow. When debris fell from the ceiling, he pulled me aside, shielding me with his body. "Humans are insane," I muttered breathlessly. He smiled through the pain. "We prefer stubborn." At the final gate, I used my access seal to open a private hangar. Inside stood my personal skimmer. A vessel sleek and bright, a thing of luxury not meant for escape. He looked at it, then back at me. "You'll be branded a traitor." "I already am," I said. "For feeling something they told me never to feel." He hesitated. "Come with me." I wish I could have said yes. But duty, heritage, the weight of my people, all bound me as tightly as any chain. "If I go," I said, "they will hunt us both. You'll never be free." He stepped closer, his hand brushing mine. "And if I leave without you?" I looked into his eyes, those defiant, human eyes that saw the world not as it was, but as it could be. "Then live," I whispered. "And remember that not all monsters stayed monsters forever." He kissed me, softly, fleetingly, as if afraid the universe would notice. Then he stepped into the skimmer. The engines roared to life, light flaring against the hangar walls. I watched as the ship rose, broke through the clouds, and vanished into the burning sky. When the guards found me hours later, I said nothing. They stripped my title, confined me to my quarters, and whispered words like traitor and corrupted. But I was neither. I was free, for the first time in my life. Years have passed since that night. The war ended, as all wars do, in exhaustion, not victory. The Dominion still stands, though smaller, quieter. Humanity thrives beyond our borders, fierce and untamed. And sometimes, when the twin suns set over Kael'thar and the glass towers catch the last of their light, I think I see his face reflected there, that impossible, infuriating, beautiful human who taught me what love meant. They say the human he escaped with vanished into deep space, never found again. But sometimes I wonder if he still looks at the stars and thinks of the woman who was meant to torture him, and instead learned to feel. If he does, perhaps that is enough. Because what happened to him was not torture. It was amazing. And it changed us both forever.